Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central here in Kent, Ohio. The only state in the union that ends the same way it begins, with a great big fat zero. The big O. That's right. Well, we're not going to leave you with a big fat zero tonight, and hopefully you won't leave us with one as well. Hopefully you've already signed up and have subscribed to our Tubular Black Facts channel. That's the plan. We hope you are the man or the woman and have done what you need to do. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and share our word of the day with you. Word of the day from the mind of Dr. Edward W. Crosby, the father of Black History Month. Ain't nothing to it but the rent. Ain't nothing to it but the rent. So don't get bent because it ain't all spent. Ain't nothing to it but the rent. And you know just what he meant. So no need to explain that one. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and read our poem for today, which is coming out of the book Voice of Freedom by Fannie Lou Hamer. No, excuse me, not by her, about the life of Fannie Lou Hamer. Yeah, let me stop myself before I get, before I rest. Let me not stress myself before I less myself. All right, now, let's see what we got here today. This one is called Spoiled, and I'm going to read it with my glasses. Let's see what we got here. I was the baby, and my mother never let anyone in the family forget it. She told my father not to beat me, and she made my sisters and brothers give me piggyback rides, even though I weighed more than some of them. I could get into some mischief too, like the time I cooked a bag of rice. It boiled over and made a big mess. My father was so angry that I ran off to get away from him. My mama saved me from a beating that time too. My father wasn't always serious though. After a long day in the field, he told jokes. We roasted peanuts and all sang together. Sometimes they'd stand me on the kitchen table and I would break into this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. I reckon I was a show off. You know what I mean. Now, mind you, she was the youngest of 20 children. 20 children, count them, 20 children. So if you think you got it hard with your 2 or 3, 4, 5, however many it is you got, imagine having 20 and no money. Absolutely. Now that is something to think about. Tonight's story comes from a father and son team, John Ford III and John Ford the Fourth. John Ford the Fourth, rather, and John Ford the Third. So let's see what John Ford the Fourth finds out about his daddy, John Ford the Third. John, I'm interviewing my dad, John Ford. Were you alive during segregation, Daddy? That's the first question I want to ask you. Were you alive during segregation? And let's just see here if we can get our slideshow going on too while we do it. And there we go. Yes, I was. What do you want to know about segregation, son? What was it like? Was your school segregated? John's dad. Yes, let me tell you something I really remember from that school. It was called the Payne School, as in Tyler Perry's House of Pain, Payne. It was right across the street from where I lived. So the playground I played on was the playground at that school. And that playground was covered with cinders. John, what's cinders? John's dad, ashes. See, at one time, most homes were heated by coal, and the coal would leave an ash. The people used to have an ash can outside. John, like now they have trash cans? John's dad, yes. And they used to have what they called an ash man. So you had an ash can and an ash man. Imagine that. Like a trash man. To come around and get the ashes. And what they did with these ashes was they covered our playground. The black kids' playground, because there wasn't no grass on it. So since we couldn't have no grass, we figured the next best thing was to have some ash. Ain't that something? John, so the whole thing was covered? John's dad, covered with ashes. And it was rough, too. If you fell down on that stuff, you'd come up with strawberries all over you. You know, scraped skin. And when you got home, your socks were dirty, feet were dirty, full of the coal dust from the cinders on the playground. John, thanks, Dad, for talking to me about this stuff. John's dad, you're welcome. Wow. Well, no wonder people were protesting and trying to get better facilities. If you had to go out there and play during lunchtime recess or after school or whatever on a playground full of ash, that don't even sound right. So now we finished that story pretty quick, and we got quite a bit of time left. So we're going to go ahead and read one more story, and then maybe we'll do a poem from Miss Lou. This one is Justin Pratt with Marsha Pratt. Justin is the interviewer, and his mom, Marsha, is the interviewee. Justin, good morning. This is Justin Pratt reporting from North Bethesda, Maryland. I'm interviewing Marsha Pratt. Marsha, what do you remember about segregation? Marsha, I have many images of segregation from my childhood. Some were in the city and some were in the country. Justin, I didn't know you lived in the country. Marsha, well, I didn't actually live in the country. During the summertime, my grandma would be at her farm in southern Maryland, and I would spend several weeks with her. Justin, and that's when you noticed something about segregation? Marsha, yes. One Sunday, my grandmother and I went to church together, and we got there very early. My grandmother saw some of her friends outside the church and was visiting with them before we went in. After a while, I decided I'd just go ahead and find a seat for us in the church and wait for her there. I went in. It was a little country church, and it was so beautiful. I loved the stained glass windows and looking outside and seeing the cemetery through the windows as the people began filling the church. Then the service began, and I noticed all the people around me were black folks. I was the only person in that part of the church who was white. Justin, where was your grandmother? Marsha, when she came in, she hadn't noticed me. So she was up front in an entirely different section with all the other white people. Then she looked around and saw me. Justin, was she mad at you? No, she just sort of smiled and nodded to me, acknowledging that I was fine where I was. But I realized that the black people somehow knew that where we were sitting was where they had to be, and they were not to go where the white people were sitting up front. And I remember as a child thinking, what a funny thing. that was. Justin, why funny? Well, not funny, funny actually, strange funny, because they had always told us in church that in God's eyes we're all the same. Yet there, yet that was where I noticed segregation most vividly, in the place where you'd probably least think you'd see it, at church. Justin, that is funny, but not funny funny. Marcia, strange funny. Justin, okay. Thank you for being with us, Marcia. This is Justin Pratt signing off. Justin Pratt, sounding like he's on TV or something. He thought he was really into something. If only he knew. So those are our two stories for the night. Oh, I did say I would read a poem from Miss Lou, or I could read a poem from Miss Lou. Let's see what she has for us today. See if she got something good. Okay. All right, let's try this one. This one is called Speechify. Young ladies and gentlemen, and others in the room, Miss Charlie, Auntie Mattie, Mrs. Bride, and Mr. Groom. Let I takes in hand wine glasses, let I full it to the tip, while Miss Clemmy share the cakeses, let I rise and let I sip. The whole district got frightration on this ceremonial day, after so much coordination. For see, Tom married to May. 30 years him was a courting her, but time longer than rope. May say, wait no kill nobody on, she always live in hope. And today as we look upon her face, we know her heart to sing. Me hopes reward, me patience gain. At last me get the ring. Me and Tom was always buddy, and I know May from she small. Them head gray now, them teeth drop out, but them face no change at all. Some way Tom forehead buck same way, May bottom lip hung down. Tom stop, suck him big finger, but May still dare suck her tongue. I glad to see them combination turn qualification, and I wish them long duration in them new participation. One woman word, young gals no force, no man for married ya. Me not calling no name, but is one special gal me talking to. If you force him, you gwine lose out. Him to make up for runway. Ease up the pressure, loose the rein. That's all me have to say. And there we have it. Speechify by Miss Lou. None other than Miss Lou. Now, there's something for you to think about. Well, we hope you liked our little presentation tonight. We hope you come around when next we give another one. We hope when we get finished with each of these presentations that it does not leave you with a frown from your head up to your crown. We hope that you feel really good inside, like you can go out and get down when you need to rise up like a little pup. And in the meantime, let's always remember, from May until November, that Black Facts gives you more for less every single day. So why should you not be willing to go ahead and pay just so you could hear me say some more of this here rhymes and give you a few more good times? Just go ahead and make your donation. You can do it right now at your own location. You can make a donation on Facebook. You can make a donation at our website. Please feel free to do it either way. It won't give you a fright, but it might just excite when you go ahead. Certainly, it'll make things really right and help us from feeling so uptight. Because we want to keep this show going on into the future, we need your support nearly every day, but especially at the beginning of the month of November and December, January, February, March, and April, May and June, July and August, and September as well. So please don't forget, make that donation now. Make it generous. Don't be shy. You might as well, because our time is probably the best thing you're ever gonna buy. In the meanwhile, all you little children out there know what time it is. Don't make me have to give you a quiz. You know you need to take your little head and lay it on your little pillow, on your little bed while you close those your eyes and wait on the sun to rise. And when you feel those sunbeams beaming down on your eyes, you'll know that it's time for you to rise and shine, oh children of mine. And in the meantime, your parents already got a message because we summarily preempted your little rhyme. Peace out, without a doubt, with plenty of justice, because anything less disgusts us as we say goodnight and give a wave to Imani Zaire. We hope you enjoy your night with no to little fear. Peace out.